Hey, there he is.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. How's everything in Philadelphia?
It's hot.
Corey,
It's really hot.
I've met you before, Corey.
No, nice to meet you, David. Thank you so much for doing this with us.
Yeah, let's look. So there's Bobby Clark.
Nice.
Okay, this was Hanging Bones. I don't know if that's your dad, but
Who, me or Corey? Me?
yeah, but that's an old picture. There's Bobby Clark.
Right?
I don't know who's in net there though. I don't
I don't know.
No, I don't think that's your dad.
I can't see it close enough to tell.
We'll have to zoom in. There we go.
Let's see.
Right out the Hall of Fame.
There it is. Let's see. I know. I don't recognize. Is it your dad, Corey?
No, that's my dad.
Yeah, that's Corey's dad.
Are you
That's
serious?
Yeah, that's my dad. That's his own.
Man, look at that shot.
how funny is that? That's so funny.
You're recording all this stuff.
Oh, we're recording it. There you go.
Cool. Wait,
That is
Corey,
so
that's your
funny.
dad?
That's my dad. Yeah.
That's Favell.
Do you know that this was hanging on the stud of Bones for like 12 seasons, man?
Oh my God, your daughter will love that. You have to tell her, Corey.
12 seasons. That was above my desk, and it was just this older picture that I had, and I was like, I loved it. I mean,
That's
that's amazing.
so funny.
they're like their hairs are cut like fit. That's so cool, right?
Usually
But
everybody's got a
that's
picture. Everyone's got a
Mr.
picture of
Bell.
Bernie.
I know.
That's
And
nuts.
you didn't even know you had a picture of Doug Favell hanging on your wall.
Where am I supposed to look? Here? I feel like is that better? Do I look straight when I'm looking there?
Yeah, you look straight. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's perfect.
Is that
You're
better?
good.
Yeah. Well, how long did you do the podcast, Kim and Corey?
Oh, let's see. What this is like our 15th episode. So like 3 months.
Okay. Good work.
Yeah.
Good work.
Yeah, so it's been fun. You know, we just growing up in the NHL world, and it's just a unique way to grow up. So we kind of wanted to, you know, we've been having fun with it.
Great. God bless you, man. It's great. Whatever it takes, right?
And you're our first non-hockey pro to be on. So
I wish I played hockey. I should have my mom did not want to get up in the morning.
it's a commitment. It's like a huge
Well,
commitment.
You know, for me, it was Buffalo, New York, and it was a little colder there than it was in Philadelphia. I had two older sisters, and my dad did a kid show named Rocket Ship 7, so he was up and out the door at 4 a.m.
Wow.
He had to be at the station, and if during the wintertime, like the snow, it was, you know, that was kind of tough. So
Mhm.
I was like always wanted to play hockey, but my mom was not getting up that early.
No.
We couldn't afford it.
I know. It's like ridiculous how expensive it is.
Yeah, so we kind of lost that. And then when I moved to Philly, I wanted to play it, but I didn't do it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because Brooks Barber, Billy's son, wanted to play goalie, and Billy was like, "I'm not spending that money on that equipment." So
how about today's cost? It's like a stick is like $380.
it's crazy.
Oh, hey, I'm telling, like, show you right here. This. Now we're getting our props up. Yeah, $400.
What?
Wow.
Like, yeah, $400, and then you got to get skates. You got. I mean, yeah, you're right. It's turned into an expensive sport.
You know.
Is that your stick, Corey?
Yeah, that's one of them. You could tell I wasn't a goalie.
How long did you play for, man?
I played up till about 21, till I was 21, but I think I should have been a goalie. I didn't grow very big, so
okay.
That's kind of the line of work I do now. I work with a lot of elite junior hockey players, working their way to the NHL, and I strength train them. And
cool. I would have had Jaden work with you like a couple of years ago, but now he's flipped the script, and now he's a musician. He's singing and
oh, sweet.
I love his music too. He's really good.
Yeah, he's definitely has a style, and he's off to NYU at the Clive Davis program in August.
Nice.
Yeah, so his journey's beginning, you know.
And he'll be over this way. New York is the place to go for that.
I got to get out of California, guys. I got to get out.
Yeah. It's hard to transplant from the East Coast, I think.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
It is. I'd love to be back when he was playing at South Kent. I'd go and visit him in the dorms freshman and sophomore year, and I loved it. Loved being back in that environment and the cold and Connecticut, gorgeous, and it's just a great area. I love Philly in the fall and the spring. That's about it.
Yeah. Oh, it's the best.
the summer.
Did you want to be an athlete, or were you always like focused on acting?
You know, I didn't do when I remember in 4th grade, I was always athletic. So I was always playing football, basketball. I loved football. That was like my thing. I remember doing a play, I think it was 4th grade, and I went to St. Thomas and I did this play. And I tried out and I got it. It was the lead, whatever it was. But I remember doing the play, and I was one of those guys that was like, oh, I'm an athlete, I'm not an actor, because it felt like I shouldn't be an actor, I should be an athlete. Like
right.
I was covering for my real passion deep inside.
Right. Which happens a lot.
Yeah, I remember doing this play it was when I was a young kid, and I just got so jazzed when I hit the stage. Something happened, and I felt this this unbelievable energy that spirit that kind of came out of me, right? And I was young at the time. Then I went on and did another play in 8th grade, and then in high school, I didn't do anything but play football. I thought I was going to be a professional football player, and that didn't work out.
Right.
And so I think it was always inside me. I just didn't know really how to connect to it or what it meant. You know, I didn't know what all that was. It took a while. So
when did that click with you?
Well, like I said, I had little moments of it. Like that first play I did, I was like, wow, what is this feeling? And then, you know, you're in 4th grade, you don't really,
right.
much about it. And 8th grade was cool. I did Hello, Dolly. I was the lead in that. And then high school, they wanted me to be like the high school play guy. He's like, can you should do a play. And I almost had me, and I didn't do it. I was too jocked out. I was like, I can't. This is not going to work.
And it's a shame because that is such a stigma for jocks, like to be in the play. It's like still like that. Yeah,
it is. It's like, I don't know what that is, but I don't know. So, then I went out to college. When I went to Ithaca, I studied film. I didn't study theater. I think I did one class that I had to do was like acting 101. And then I made movies, and Ithaca College was beautiful. It was a great place for 4 years. I loved it. And then again, it was like, I just want to direct. I just want to be a director. I got into the directing thing and writing, and the acting thing never. I knew deep down I wanted to do it. I just didn't really. I don't know. And then I moved out to California. I remember being here the first week, and I went to an audition with my friend who went to USC, and he was an actor. He wanted to really be an actor. So he helped me kind of break out of a shell there. And I went on an audition with a commercial audition. I ended up getting an audition commercial, like totally out of the blue, right? Wow. kind of snowballed. And from there, we, I kind of got an agent. And I mean, crazy stories. I mean, for me, it was, I was living on a couch downtown in LA in 91. I had 2 suits that I got from a high school graduation party. I mean, I literally was just looking for work. And I ended up really just kind of going over to the acting world because that's where the opportunity was in auditions. I got Married with Children. I got Coach. I did all these like small sitcoms, then commercials, tons of commercials, but I wasn't really trained like technically. So all of my experiences really is my work, my life. Like when I traveled to Europe when I was in college, I lived life. Like that to me was my growth, and that was to me like understanding what the world was about. But I had like the European tour. I was like out up at 4 p.m. Didn't do anything. I had a car across the continent.
European bar crawl.
It was the night journey. I just experienced life, and
that's awesome though to do at that age. Like I encourage my kids to do that kind of stuff, explore the world, and
go see the world. Like enjoy the time you have to travel. I would say get a Euro pass, get some traveler's checks, and roll, because you end up in these great crazy situations, and they're hilarious. But
right.
I mean, I could give you tons. I don't think you have enough time really to hear about all. But for me, it was committing to finding how to get my technique down. Like how do you hone your natural ability? But then again, it's like as an athlete, like if you're a good hockey player or a good athlete, you have to work on the training aspect of it, right? Your turns and your speed and your quickness. So I had to find somebody who would kind of help me with the technical side of it, because there's all these little tricks. So I found somebody by the name of Stephen Book, and I studied with him for about 2.5, almost 3 years. And it was all improvisational theater. So it was like Viola Spolin, all improvisational games. And what that means is you go up on stage and you have nothing in front of you. You're acting out milk and opening refrigerators, and you're training your body with nothing there. And that translates later on when you're in front of a camera or you're live on stage or whatever it is. You train your body to mechanically match your emotions. So you're not like fumbling all over the place. You don't freak out. Any of those too. So I studied with him
every day.
Yeah, for a while, and then I was doing a lot of commercials with a lot of directors, like Budweiser commercials, David Fincher. He did a lot of dark commercials in Hollywood. One that didn't even air was like a bunch of actors there were a bunch of stoners doing one-liners back and forth. Great movie lines, right?
Yeah.
And mine was "Open the Pod Bay Door, Hell." That was from 2001: Space Odyssey. I swear to God, I couldn't get my line out. I waited all day. I wrote it down on a piece of paper. I had it in a earbox. I was so freaking nervous. Those are the things you go through, right? And you just start to beat yourself up so internally that you can't. It's like you're gripping the stick too tight. You gotta just oh. But I did a lot of those, and then I just got a break. And my manager, who's still my manager today, I had a dog. His dog's name was Bertha Blue because I'm a big Grateful Dead fan. And I said, I'm going to get this dog. It was a rescue, and named her Bertha Blue. And she kind of was with me from the beginning of, when I was living with my friends out in Hollywood and at houses, and I was walking my dog, and my manager spotted me. It's no lie. It's kind of like a Schwab's kind of story of old Hollywood. And he said, at the time, he's like, I was either going to pick that guy up or I'm going to represent him. So definitely the later one happened. So I went in to meet with him, and the next day I booked was Buffy because they were looking for somebody.
Wow.
They came to the last thing. I went in to read, and I met Marcia Schulman, who was the casting director for Buffy at the time. Great gal. My first meeting with her, we talked about restaurants in New York on the East Coast for an hour and a half. Didn't even get to the material, right? So she's like, we should probably read this. I'm like, okay. I got through it. And then I had to come back, and I read for Gal Berman, Joss Whedon, David Greenwald in this room. And they were taping the audition. And in the audition is I think I fell off the motorcycle, and then Buffy comes down and she beats me up, and then picks me up, and then I'm on the ground, and then I appear. That's my character. So I had this chair in the audition room, spinning it around, and it's not going to become a motorcycle. How many times you spin it? That's for me. And I got through the audition, and I remember leaving the room going, "Oh my God, I almost messed up. I almost screwed up the whole audition." Well, long story short, I ended up getting the role, and it was really a big start for me because I had done nothing, to be honest with you. I had nothing, and got this role. It was booked for 7 episodes out of 12. It was a small role. The breakdown was a 242-year-old vampire with a conscience who was a prize fighter, kind of represented Joe Louis, a boxer. And I was like, I love this. I'm like, hey,
that's a perfect. Yeah.
I'll do whatever. I'm in. Yeah. Well, little did I know that this character would just become what it became between me and Sarah, and it was a big deal. We did the 13 episodes, and when it came out, it was like, wow, it was a big cult audience. It was intense. And it was quite a ride, and it swept me up pretty fast. And I look back and I said, I don't think I was really prepared for that experience. I was young, and I wasn't too young, but I was 26.
Yeah,
26. Where all those kids were 18, 19, 20. I was much older, and it just took off, and was lucky to create.
He literally just grabbed he just saw you and said, "Hey, I want you to."
You mean my manager? Yeah, he. What happened was, it was weird because it was in the neighborhood, and a neighborhood friend. I was like, I put it out to the universe. I needed a manager at the time, and that came back to me, and it came back,
Yeah.
I really believe in manifestation and chakras and being spirit. Like that's a big component in my life.
100%.
More so now than it ever has been. And I got in to see Tom at the time, and I walked in, and he said, "Oh my God, oh my God, I see you tomorrow, Marcia Shulman, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "What? Okay." So that's how it kind of happened. But he's near and dear. He's a big part of the family, and been with him over 25 years. I mean,
wow.
I think I've been doing network television for this will be my 25th year doing network television.
Wow.
So I'm proud of that, and that's kind of how I started a little bit there.
I mean, you went from that to Bones to SEAL Team, so it's like
I mean, it's been then Buffy, and then I got my own spinoff. I got Angel, right?
That's right.
For 5 seasons, and it was a remarkable experience shooting that show at night, and the directors we had, and what we had to do in 8 days, and my stunt guy rappelling off big buildings in downtown LA off wires, doing a lot of wire work, green screen work. I mean, what they do on Marvel films today, and what we did, they kind of mirror each other because the technology is so much better that it's a lot easier in a lot of ways. I mean, we did it was a lot more difficult.
Right.
But demons coming from ceilings and on wires, floating around on green screens, and that was a big learning experience for me for five seasons that I was able to do that show. And I know George Lucas was a huge fan of the show. He came to visit the set. I had lunch with him. It was an exciting time for that. And then we got over that, and then I went to Bones, and I again it was something that when Gal Berman left the WB, who found me, she went to Fox at the time, brought me in and said, "We want you to do this role. This is your show." And I was like, "Wow, this is amazing." And did the pilot, and it came out, and she left the network. She went on to do something else, and there was another, and then we were the last pilot to get picked up at Fox.
Wow.
So we got picked up, and it's history. It was 12 seasons,
I mean, talk about cult following. You had that with Bones too. I mean,
it was a different show. It was pretty much a dramedy. We really pushed the envelope. At that time when we started that show, procedurals were very dry. It was like CSI Miami, right? And it was all about catch the killer, pull the glasses off, and show the back. So I worked with this great woman. Her name's Ivana Chubbuck, and I still work with her. So she just changed my world in studies and acting. And I finally understood how the process is with her. I'm not technically trained as an actor. My life is my canvas, like my ups, my downs, my controversies, my adversities, whatever is part of me becomes part of whatever that scene is. Like that's how I relate to anything. And that's so it's such an amazing experience for me to go through that catharsis of it, because it's stuff that's really going on in your life. It's a little bit of therapy in a lot of ways. But it was a great show. Bones opened up so many doors, and when we started, we changed the format in a way that it was these two guys, and we're talking over this dead body, and instead of just doing the stats and whatever, we just did these. We had this chemistry that was all about what did you do last night? And we're having an argument, over the dead body. I'm poking her. I'm pulling out fun ends. It became more of a character show in a procedural format.
Yeah, and the chemistry was there right off the bat, for sure.
Yeah. Emily was fantastic. We had one girl who originally had gotten the role, and we did it. They wanted to test her, so you go kind of in a room with a bunch of people in a theater, and you read scenes, and they test you. So they brought Emily in last minute, and this other girl basically had the part. And I did the scene with the girl who had the part, and then Emily came in, and it was like, wow, like it just snapped. Like there was a part of the scene where she got up and she just got in my face, and she put me in my place. Strong female character lead, she challenged me, right? And I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
Left that room, and the head of Fox at the time, she came up to me and she's like, well, we like her. We want to go with her. And I'm like, well, what about the girl that has the role? Like,
bye-bye.
I mean, it was one of those moments where you're like, oh, you feel really bad because I knew that girl. And you know, I remember the head of the network lady going, you're not going to like not do the show if she doesn't do it. I'm like, no, I'm just here for the process. Right. And Emily got it and it was great. And she's such a wonderful person. And we just took that show and made it a character-driven procedural. I think changed those types of shows as we progressed to season 5, to season 6. You could see the procedural start to loosen up on other networks because they wanted the bones.
Yeah, and there were a lot after that with that, trying to get that same kind of vibe going. Because I was going to ask, I know, like with hockey, it's changed so much over the years, as you know, and I was curious of how that was with you too, like, to see just how things changed through the years from when you first started.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a type of, getting into the directing aspect of it and the acting aspect of it. I use sports a lot as a metaphor for me to how do I attack my game? How do I attack my scene? How do I go at a script? Obviously, there are things that I do in the script to break it down that I learned with Stephen Book that I was telling you about, how to break a script down, find its beats. It's all study stuff, right? But it's valuable because you know how to break it down, and you get it in your head, and you get the motion of the emotions, and you get the stuff in your body. That's the fun part, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I'm such a sports-oriented person. Being from Philadelphia, I love Philadelphia sports, as you know, with all that stuff, and I just have a love of the game, especially for hockey, and how they get the puck in the zone. How do we attack the scene? How we keep moving? I don't, I relate to all of that, and I understand it, and I bring it into my work a lot of ways. But it's changed. I mean, as the game has changed, so has the acting. The world of entertainment, where you go from, what networks are today were not what they were 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Everything's streaming. Everybody wants to watch streaming. Stream this show, stream. They don't have the patience.
Yeah.
Right.
It's more about thousands of choices, and it's a buffet of stuff. And
it's funny. That's what Doc Emmerich said about hockey when he left. He's like, now it's so, with all the streaming and everything, it's just so different. It's just not a part of who he is. Like, when he retired. Yeah. I
think you have to, for me, it's, I'm excited. I actually love it. I pivot. I just pivot, make a move, pivot.
Yeah.
and it works for you. It's obviously working.
You got to adjust. Like, you have to adjust. You have to be able to understand.
It's fun too.
It is so much fun. I mean, what we do today on our show on SEAL Team is so, I can't tell you, the mental and physical exhaustion of the character alone is.
I can imagine.
Awful to play this guy. I'm so grateful to be able to step in his shoes and represent somebody who struggles from PTS or struggles from TBI, and how our military is not understood and not accepted. It's been like that for years. And it's funny, I talked to my dad, and he's like, the military just never gets appreciated. You look at shows that are on TV now, it's SEAL Team. There's not many military shows out there.
Yeah,
it's the way they are. And I was talking to somebody about this today. The biggest. I'm so proud of the fact that I can hear from somebody who said to me, I really appreciate watching your show and watching you struggle in a scene. If your character's going through some therapy or whatever, he's struggling with PTS or his TBI, I relate to that. It made me go get help. It made me call my friends. Like somebody, we did a guest thing for The Price is Right, where we hosted The Price is Right, which, by the way, it was like big check.
Yes.
I spun the wheel. I did Flinto, the whole thing. And we did it on Veterans Night. It was like, probably it was the coolest experience. But we had someone who came up, and she was a veteran. She said, you saved my life. I was really thinking about taking my life, and I watched your show, and it helped me. So when you hear stories like that, that's the biggest, for me, that's my award. That's my kind of.
That's awesome.
And it's almost like it's the Chris Julak who's on SEAL Teams. It's like a love letter to the real SEAL who created the show. So
Well, you really do an awesome job of portraying that and what it's really like for the families and when they're away, just the emotion, dealing with trauma on the job and stuff. I think you guys really do a really good job of portraying what it's like for the real people out there experiencing it.
We keep it real. Yeah. Jimmy Miro is our DP. It's very documentary. It's very fast.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's not we're moving to a streaming format this season. So we're doing 4 episodes on the network, and then we go over to Paramount Plus, which is their streaming platform, which is great because we're allowed to now have 14 more minutes of time, and we can
nice.
swear, we can do whatever we want. We don't have to have practices. We don't have to worry about commercials. So it's going to really flip the script for us. And it's like a new, even though we're going into our 5th season, it feels like a new thing. And that's so it's like we have to put on a new pair of blades or something.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be fun to watch it and see how, with all the changes, how it it's portrayed. So it'll be fun.
I wanted to ask you, David, friend of mine, big SEAL fan, but he said David's in great shape. He's, he's built like a professional athlete. So I just was curious, what is, your training like for a SEAL team? Is it different from a Buffy, from a Bones? Like, you are in great shape. What kind of do you do to keep it up?
Man, when Buffy and Angel were happening, I was younger and it was all flying on wires and it was late shooting. And I was just like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. Like Peter Pan out there. Bones was not as physical. And I always told Hart Hansen, you don't utilize me as this character enough. Like, I don't do tons of stunts like I could. Right? It's more like, hey, back and forth banter. It was all about the character stuff. But with this show, it's difficult. The way I train is I have a trainer who's a great guy. I work out now 3-4 times a week. I do a lot of boxing now. I love boxing. Mm-hmm. Boxing's a big component of my cardiovascular and just I love the rhythm of it, the movement, hand-eye coordination, the speed of it. I train very light weights. I don't do a lot of heavy lifting as the other guys do. Like the other guys on the show, they're just massive, man. I'm more trying to keep it lean. I do a lot of high reps. I'll do circuits. I'll rest like a minute in between. I'll do 10 rounds of boxing. I'll do a lot of bike work. I'll do a lot of band work, some flexibility work, stuff like that. I don't do a lot of running these days just because it's hard on my knees. Mm-hmm. I do a lot of skating. I mean, I used to play tons of ice hockey, pickup games. We had a club on Saturdays where we'd play. I love the speed of the game. Hockey to me is just like the most remarkable, like euphoric experience. Like I get on the ice, I got white noise. I feel like this is my meditative. I don't think of anything because so fast you don't have time, right? Yeah. It's perfect for me. Like I that speed helps me, and and I think I'm just like the best center out there.
Bobby Clark, you're Bobby Clark.
Right? Let's go.
Hey, you could be if you went in that room. You never know.
Well, there could have been a shot. I could have made it.
Yes,
I could have made it, man. I just couldn't. My mom only got off of my practices. I could have probably been in. I respect the game so much. So my training is like comprised of things that I like. Like I love boxing. I love ice hockey. I like but I like to train like an athlete. I literally look at my season right now. I'm in preseason right now. We don't start shooting until next week. When you air that, we'll start shooting this podcast. And for me, it's like, okay, I love the mental preparation of it. I love the physicality preparation of it. And it's like training camp. Like I put myself in the training camp. I feel like an athlete. I have my nutrition down, what I can eat, what I can't eat. So you got to take really good care of your body. It's so important, especially a role like this, because you're wearing a lot of gear. You're shooting a lot of guns. You're running all over the place. It's, the end of last season, I was fireman carrying a actual SEAL. One of the episodes
I was going to say your calves scenes
big dude. He was like 240 pounds. And he was a 240 like thick 240. It wasn't like this.
Was that with or without the equipment?
I had the equipment on, and I used to fireman carry him down this small incline. And I kid you not, I was like, part of me, I just don't do it. You're the director, don't do this. Let the stunt guy do it. Let the stunt guy do it, right? I was like, don't.
But your ego won, right?
Yeah, the ego.
Yeah.
It always gets in the way.
Yeah.
Let me just try it, right? So I get the guy on my shoulders, like, fucking roll the camera. Let's go. I'm doing it. I'm walking. I'm freaking struggling. In the back of my head, the drone guy's like, try to get to the edge of the mountain at the end because I get a cool swooping shot. Well, now I'm thinking that. What do I need to get? And I hear that last voice. Well, like, it's like someone tells me to go over to the side. I'm going to go over. Well, as I was trying to get over, my right ankle twisted. So my right ankle went, and I caught it, and I just dropped right backwards.
Yeah.
My knees went, bam, both knees. And I was lying there going, I'm fucked. Can you swear?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. Oh, yeah. I'm done. And I was like, don't touch me. Nobody move. I was like breathing inside. Slowly put my legs out. Didn't hear any pops. I'm okay. My ankle was black, blue, purple. It was a painful ankle. I got up. I was like, okay. I walked it off, got some ice on it, finished the afternoon, got to lunch. I got in my trailer, right? Got everybody away. Took my shoe off, and it's just so much pain. I'm stuck it in a bucket of ice water. Yeah, man, let's go. I gotta get back out there. Like, I got to get back out. So I got it on. I'm all dirty. Then I got it out, and then I got taped up. I put it back on. I finished the day. Well, you go home, and you're like, it's so painful the next day. I had to shoot. I had to finish my show, and then the last show of the season, running through, jumping on helicopters. I had to like brace it up. I had to,
you're in the playoffs. You got to do
playoffs.
it.
I didn't cry. I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
I got it done. And when the season was over, then I got the doctor, the medics. They take a look at you, did what I need to do, and like you said what you're saying, Corey, like. I have to, like, going into this season, I went and saw my knee doctor. He's like, you can't do those stunts. You know that, right?
Yeah. We're not spring chickens.
You gotta be smart. Think like Tom Brady. He's in the game and he's smart, right? He's a drop back quarterback. He's technically smart. He knows where to place the ball. He's in good shape, but he's not going to run around like a quarterback's going to run around and put himself in a position to get hurt.
Right.
Vulnerable positions.
Yeah, that's what I got to do. So then I get my, I just finished my PRP shots. I don't know if you know what a PRP shot is.
No.
So they take your blood. They draw blood, about this much blood out of your arm.
Right.
2 big containers of them. They spin it, and they're called rich plasma. They take the plasma of that blood, right, which is like rich. And they, about this big, a needle about this long, right? Oh. And I did both knees. So they take that blood. First, they shoot it up with lidocaine with a needle that big. Boom, lidocaine, and then they put the big blood. They put your blood back in your knee, and then they put another shot. So 3 shots on each knee.
Wow.
You got to do it for three times.
Yeah. My knees hurt. Right now.
I'm thinking about it. And it's like you got to prepare for the season because now my knees are done. I got them done. They're finally met the 3rd week. I finished it on Monday. And so I got that done, and that's just part of the prep. It's part of the what you need to do, and what I need to. I will be smarter, and I won't be carrying fire carrying.
What happened to the guy you were carrying? He was fine, I'm guessing.
He's like, dude, I told you. Really great guy, soft spoken, real SEAL about it.
Oh, really?
Our show was pitched by a real guy. Mark Owen, he was 13 deployments. He was second in on Bin Laden. He was in the raid. These guys, we have a Delta Force guy. We have the real deal. We don't mess around. So,
I used to watch that reality show about the SEAL team. And it's like years ago. I don't know how long ago. It was like 15 years ago. It was it's amazing what those guys, it's just unreal to me what those guys do. And
the mental, again, like you have to obviously be physically ready for it and train, but you also have to be mentally prepared.
Right. Like to make it on the team, don't they put them through a lot of like really
very strenuous. I was just on vacation and we go to this one spot, the pool is huge. It's like half the size of a football field. So every year I go underwater and I have to get underwater without coming up for air. And I did it this year. I was like, no. But I did it. I was like,
you did it.
I got to hit those marks. Like I got to hit the mark. Like I got to think like an athlete. I got to train like an athlete. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I like how you put everything in kind of like an athlete.
Yeah.
Do you get to hang out with? I don't know what part of California you're in, but do you get to hang out with any of the LA Kings, or are you more near Anaheim, or do you get to hang out with hockey guys because you're a big hockey fan?
Know him well, man. I know Luke real well. I know Robitaille.
Sweet.
Kopi loves the show. He loves SEAL Team. He's a big fan.
Yeah.
Joe Thornton. I know so many Flyers. I mean, I've been fortunate enough for me, it was like a big thing. It's like, I can now go see the Flyer games and really get to meet the players,
That's awesome.
And they're just great guys, and the organization is awesome. And, they're the players that are out here that I met down at the Staples Center. I know most of them. I go to their events, whatever I may do for them. I love doing that. I did a lot of work with Mr. Snyder and his charitable.
I was just going to say that, yeah, Mr. Snyder.
I really love that aspect of it, and I have one goal. My goal is to win a Stanley Cup and own a team, and that will happen.
Yeah, nice. I like that.
That will happen.
And you know what? You've been right about everything else, so I don't doubt that. I'm sure it will happen.
Well, you're in tune with the universe and your chakras, and that's something. Kim and I really believe in that stuff.
I'm like really big into that. That's the way
I work with a craniosacral. Do you ever do craniosacral massage?
No.
Okay, so it's an amazing experience, and that was something I just got kind of tuned into. Is I was struggling with TMJ, which that is worse.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to handle that. So if a guy gets something, it's like they got to fix it right away. They got to get it done right away. They got to go to the hardware store. What do you need? Bam, bam, bam. Right? You're obsessive, right? Went to my dentist twice. What is this pain? I got to get rid of it. I went to a specialist. Found this guy to make a mouthpiece. Then I was like, let me just go do some holistic stuff. So I found this woman. You lie flat down, and she takes her hands and glides them over underneath your body at certain spots. There's not intense. It's just energy. It's all energy. On the table for 2.5 hours, I could feel like the energy swirling around me. It's like I felt like Bob Weir in the bed. I was like floating, right? All the energy. She was aligning the chakras in the body, and I could feel like this vibration go through my whole body. I mean, it was an amazing experience. And then the floodgates open because you start to release your emotional attachments to things. Yeah. You get to the deep root of what the trauma is all about.
Yeah.
Trauma, like the hip is about abandonment and the knees are about being stuck. So there's all these things, learning how to breathe with your heart and your mind. It's a great experience. Opened up and was crying like a baby on the table.
I love that. That's
an amazing experience, and she was great. I was trustworthy, and as I was leaving, when I was leaving, she said to me, I wasn't hitting spots, in my head where to go. You were guiding me where to take me. Wow. Whoa, that's trippy.
I love that. Like when I get into
my new thing.
Well, when I get into like a good meditation or with a really good yoga where I'm really fully present and those moments happen, it's the absolute best. Like you can't even explain. Like I've chose just even thinking about it. I love it so much.
The experience. It's like it's when you're on the ice and you're skating and you're flying and you don't think you're in the zone. Like athletes get in the zone. It's just it's effortless, right? Your energy is effortless, and it's amazing to watch. It's amazing to see. Like when Jordan played, he was so unconscious. I think at times he was he was meticulous. He worked hard at it, right? You got to work. You got to put the time in training down. But there's that energy of it. It's like, man, it's so amazing. It's like music. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I get that way with my art too. When I'm drawing, sometimes I'm overthinking it, and then I'm just like, but when I get into it, it's like 3 hours go by, and it's awesome. But like even I love all your posts with like all the classic movies, and I love like that and the paintings and all that stuff. I just it's been keep posting that.
I will. I definitely will. And
I love it.
I'm excited about the season. I got to get some stuff to wear.
I know. Got to send you more biscuit tees.
Yeah, I will tell my wardrobe guy. He's like, I need the number. I said, I'll make sure he contacts you. But
yes,
I thank you. I got to tell you, I'm so happy and pleased. All my shows, I put something Philadelphia in my characters, right? And you guys, you made my T-shirts for my 50th.
You did.
Came out great, by the way.
They were awesome.
They were great, and you guys just have I just love a couple things I don't understand. What's 4th and John mean? What does that mean?
Well,
I have no idea.
well, John, John's the whole Philly, John, right? No,
I don't.
You got to Philly too soon.
I know. I missed this one.
John is just like, oh, go grab me that John, or oh, I went to the John. Like you can use it for anything, but it's just like when you can't think of the word, it's just. So
John.
Everyone says John around here. It's just I don't know how it started. But
I never knew that one, so I was like, I got to ask you about what this 4th and John means.
Oh, so when you got the John hoodie, you're like, what's that mean?
I didn't know. I was like 4th and yawn, like they yawn.
Well, it's funny because people reach out to us, like whenever you wear biscuit tees on the show, I get all the messages and everyone's sending screenshots and recently, when you had the Patterson Ave hoodie on at the end of this last season, we got orders from all over Europe. Like, I bet you they didn't even know what Patterson Ave is, but they saw you wearing it and they had to have it. So it was really cool.
That's great. And what you did with the Oscar Lindblom thing, it's just fantastic. I was so excited for you. Yeah, I love to see that hometown stuff, and it means a lot because I feel like I represent that in a small way out here, and I'm a tight Philly guy, and I love my sports teams, and I just can't stand the Lakers. Kings, I like the Kings because they got Carter and Richards, and win a cup. So,
well, it's funny because Philly people claim you as their own. Like as far as everyone around here is, you're their Philly guy, and they love when you put on this stuff. Like everyone's just really proud that you're proud of it. So it's really cool.
Yeah, that's like my dad. He was on Action News. He was the guy on City Line Avenue, right? The honker. So,
your dad. Your dad is just the most genuine. I don't know him. I don't know if I might have met him.
You should do your podcast.
I want to.
He just wouldn't. He wouldn't know how to set it up. He'd be like,
that's what we're talking about. Our dads,
he would do it if you made it easy for him. He would definitely.
I would love that. Like he just had such a genuine like you said, everyone would honk and what was it like growing up with him as your dad in Philly? Because everyone loved him and knew who he was.
It was great. I mean, I was fortunate when I moved to Philadelphia. It was just when the Phillies we had Steve Carlton, Pete Rose, Manny Trio, Bake McBride, the Flyers with Clarkey, Bill Barber, Paul Holmgren. It was the inception of Dr. J, Moses Malone.
Wow, that was a good time.
Ron Jaworski. So I was like, I came from I'm like, these teams are winning. We're going to the vet. We're going to the Spectrum. We're seeing these games. It was like, I got to get in because he had the Action News Pass. He had the sports. I was like, this is amazing, But my dad is such you're right. I mean, he is, I can't even hold a flame to him. He's such a special human being.
Yeah.
He's such a giving person. He is the type of person that just will sit and listen and take that in and reciprocate back, but he's really listening. He's not a 2-minute conversation.
Right.
And I admire his genuineness, his heart, his way with words, his philosophy in life, to laugh, to love unconditionally. He's a very unique man, but
he emanates warmth, like just his whole vibe and
he's a chakra, man.
Yeah.
Well, David, I live right by Buffalo, so I'm just I'm in St. Catharines, so I'm about 20 minutes from the border of Buffalo. Okay. So when I mentioned you were coming on, a lot of people around here knew your dad, and Rocket Ship 7 is dad, and the Buffalo News and stuff like that. So that would be really neat to get
you
gotta
have him on. We gotta
have him on. That was great times. I mean, I went with him and helped him set up Promo the Robot and Mr. Beaver. We would take trips to Toronto and go to that was special, man. growing up, I was with the Sabres and going to see the games at the Odd and watching the Montreal Canadiens come in and play. And
the Odd. Yeah.
I was just at awe. I was so blessed to be able to see special players and athletes play at their peak performance. I saw it was Bobby Clark scores 1,000th goal. Bill Barber, when the Flyers played the Russians, I went to these games. I'm like, myself. I'm like, just an amazing experience growing up in the Philadelphia area with him. But hey, it comes with lumps too. Like I remember playing football at Malvern and my sophomore year trying to make the varsity team. It was like, hey, Boreanaz got to sing the Action News theme song. Like raining outside, they throw ice at you. It's raining, or you're in the vet. Like, Dave Roberts, it's hailing. They throw ice cubes at us. It was like that's Philadelphia for you.
Philly, yeah.
That's Philly, man. That's hardcore Philadelphia, but
yeah.
I love the city. I am so when I get to Philadelphia and I step off and I get to the city or the people and I just go to these places, the sandwiches and the love and the sports. It's like I eat this up. It's like when I go into that and I smell the ice. The ice does something to me. Like I was able to do when the Flyers came out to LA. I did the first pep talk for them.
Really.
I got in there and I got the players did the lineup.
I love that.
Drew's like, we got to get you to do the lineup. Oh, you should. I was so intense, so serious. I'm like this is bigger than anything, man. Like,
yeah,
that's awesome.
I'm like, dude, don't talk to me. I got to prep. Motherfuckers, here we go. I went in and just read, and they're all looking at me like, what's this guy?
That is awesome.
Did they win?
I have it. Yeah, they ended up. It was a tie. But I remember Gudis coming up to me, and he was just like in the tunnel before they hit the ice, and the players are getting ready. He's like, dude, that was intense, man.
That's awesome.
That's a fun experience, man. And then I remember once in LA, I met Eric Lindros. That was like Lindros, LeClaire, and Recchi were at this place, and I was like, they just finished playing a game, and they're all drinking beers. The table it was loaded. Put cards on top of the glasses and start building bricks. Like Eric Lindros, I'm like, fuck, man. Before I even got Buffy, I think I remember. I don't even remember. I was like,
so you were really young.
I never get shell shocked with people, athletes. I'm freaking done, man.
Right.
Lindros, I remember because Lindros had a cottage up in Muskoka, and we'd go up to Muskoka every summer, and there's a lot of hockey guys, and he was dating Monica Schnarr.
Okay.
And we were at a small little bar up north in Muskoka, Canada, and my buddies are like, that's Monica Schnarr. And I'm like, that's Eric Lindros. And they're like, holy shit. I'm like, wow. And it's like small little bar, the Edenvale in Muskoka, and there's Lindros and Monica Schnarr. And it was, it was surreal to me. I went up and it was crazy. But have you got to meet Bernie? Have you got to meet Kim's dad before?
I have. I met him at a few games. Nothing but love and hug and handshake. The guy's awesome. Man. I mean,
warmth, right?
Yeah. Just a phenomenal person. You guys I can't say enough how great of a family you are. I mean, he's freaking legend, man. God, dude. I mean, it's when you're from Philly and you're blessed in and your dad does something like that. You're like, as a kid, you're kind of like, yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're like, it's your dad. You know what he does, behind closed doors. And when you're wine or making meals, that's what we remember, right? And but a lot of those Dave Schultz, all those people. I mean, I've met them all. I love them all, and I consider them part of my family, and they've accepted me. And I bleed orange and black only.
Perfect.
It's just anything to do with the Flyers, man. I'm 100 in.
And especially those guys, just like back in my dad's era, you don't get better guys than them,
You're not. And it's like, they're vintage. It's something about the time, right? I mean, your dad, the goalie mask, man, it's like, that was it. That was that was,
yeah.
And it was so simple, right?
Right.
So simple, but it's so intimidating.
You mentioned something too, is something that I relate to as just walking into an arena, the smell of an arena as a kid growing up, it just never changes. It's something that just puts you mentally in that zone. And it's something that when you said that, I was like, man, he's bang on. That's always what I think of when I walk into a rink, is that smell. So.
That smell, that sight line, that it gives you goosebumps. I walk on a set where I'm on location. It's just, I feel like an athlete going into an arena. It's like, this is what we got to do.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you have an opportunity to watch John Cooper's speeches it's on NHL right now, his speeches throughout the playoff games.
Yeah.
He's a great coach, and his motivational speeches are phenomenal. I mean, they really did a good job filming them. And I think it's like 15 minutes of all of his pre-prep talks. It's pretty cool. It's
I'll
really,
check that out.
check it out. And but yeah, the game in itself is part of my heart and world because I relate it to what I do. I want to train like a professional hockey player. When I go back and I visit Brian, I go to the facility at Voorhees. I train in their gyms. I want to do sprints with Provo with sprints, whatever. Like I'm working out with the guy. I want to. Like to me, that's a great workout. Like I just got to see if any of them can do a Murph. Now the Murph that's a workout. Have you ever?
What's Murph?
Okay, so they do it. It's in honor of a guy who died, passed away, and you do it. You do 100. You do a mile run with a pack on, right?
Yeah.
50-pound pack. You do a mile run. You do 100 pull-ups, 200 squats, and
all with that pack on the whole time.
Yeah, and it's 1, 2, and 3, and then you finish it with a mile run. It's intense.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Provy through that. I mean, he is a bit of a machine, but you know,
that guy's a machine. So much fun. And today is the 3-year anniversary of Razor's his death. This is.
Can you believe it? I can't believe how.
I cannot. It's really weird. What a great person he was, you know, and how that was a tragedy, and you know, that's just way too soon. You know, when you. Even the kid from Columbus, the goaltender, like what?
I know.
Tragedies that happen.
I couldn't stop thinking about that for days. Like, just it's so heartbreaking.
Ray Emery, that marina is like 20 minutes from my house in Hamilton. So I've been to that marina a million times, and just hearing that story was heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking, and you could see how something so simple, a wrong little decision or something like that, you know, ends up that way.
Down, in the water. It's so easy to get.
And you don't know. That's why we got to live in the now.
Yeah.
Just live in the now.
Kelly, Brad McCrimmon. You know, I mean, there's been so many just horrible tragedies along the way. But like, you're right.
I remember when Pelle Lindbergh died. I was living in Vassar Circle, and it was like. On the news, it came on. I had to tell my dad that Pelle Lindbergh died. Or I just remember that horrible crash and that turn in the Porsche. Like all those things that, you know, when an athlete, it's so tragic when stuff like that happens. It's very sad. And but
like you said, you have to live in the now, and you know, you just never know. So you have to
see tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's not
perfect. How were you at the Eagles game when they won? I'm assuming.
Yeah, I was. So I didn't go to the Super Bowl. I was at home. Jaden was on the East Coast at my parents' house because he was at South Kent at the time. And you know, I've been to so many Eagles games. I have not been to the Link.
No.
Look at Kim's like, oh, I have not. I've been to the vet.
That just blew my mind. Like that was
I just haven't gotten to the Link yet. It's really weird. I don't know. I've seen it from the outside. I haven't been inside yet. I just haven't gotten to a game. Like I've been to every almost Flyer game that I can think of. I'd rather go to a Flyer game than I would go to an Eagle game.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely all hockey. I mean, I love the Eagles, but Flyers are my team.
Yeah, the Eagles is just, you know, I love the Eagles, like the Sixers and the Phillies, but Flyers. I think for me it would be Flyers, Eagles, Phillies, Sixers kind of combination.
That's exactly mine. Flyers, Eagles, and then the last two kind of
Go up and down, but it's
yeah.
I have to get to that. I would love to go to the link. I love what the Eagles did in the draft. I know Philadelphia's a tough sport town. Everyone's going to complain. They drove Carson Wentz out. Like it's just it's amazing to watch. Like I love tuning into listening to WIP too. It's like
those guys are great.
And I'll call up like just out of the blue, and they won't know like that it's me.
That's great.
And I called up last time I was there, and I'm like, the guy picks up the phone. He's like, yeah, WIP, what's up? I'm like, it's David from California. Hey, Dave, what's up? What do you want to do? I'm going to talk about the draft. Okay, hold on. Puts me on hold. So I'm like waiting. I'm like, I'll be on. I'm like waiting an hour. I'm like, I didn't want to say like I'm David Boreanaz. You should know who Dave is in California, right?
Yeah.
So then they get on, and like they just still don't know it's me from California.
Right.
They get on. They're like, hey, it's Dave from California. And I'm like, I just want to hope that, High Rosen's not wearing a mask when he makes his first pick. And it was dead silence. It was like death. I'm on the freaking phone. I'm like,
and it's hard to make them be silent.
I'm like, hello, because you're gonna get killed. They're gonna get killed off fast. So nothing happened. It was quick. I'm like, oh yeah, thanks. I'm like, it's really weird, right? So me and my son go out and get something to eat, and I get a text back. He's like, what Dave is this? From the guy. David Boreanaz. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I said, no, can you call back? I'm like, no, I'm with my son. I can't. I'm sorry. Yeah. So we had a 45-minute dinner. I get back in the car. I put the radio on, and they're still talking about this guy. Funniest thing I've ever heard. They're like, I'm just freaking hung up on David Boreanaz, Mr. Philly. SEAL team's got the shit on. Like, what? You're an idiot. Rampant, but
that's amazing.
It was funny.
That's amazing.
Well, it's been brutal here lately, so hopefully, like you said, they drove Wentz out, and I just feel like everyone's giving Carter Hart such a hard time. I'm like, the kid, he's a young kid. Like, and the circumstances with these past, last year, and I'm like, my God, like, he's gonna be fine. He's gonna be just fine, even better.
He's gotta, it's tricky with athletes when they come out and they pop. They just hope they don't fizzle.
Especially goalies.
Yeah, that they take a longer time to develop.
Yeah.
Look at Carey Price. He has gained so much from having Sean Burke there. I believe that. Like I love Sean Burke. I think he's an amazing person.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Berkey, and he changed Carey Price's technique. Let it come to you. Come back a little bit. Don't be so aggressive. And I don't know much about goaltending as far as the techniques are concerned and stuff. I'm just more of a chip and chase guy. Talk trash, very trash, come and celebrate like a madman guy. But it's these kids are young. They don't. You got to give time for these players to unite. I'm a little worried about the Flyers organization where they're at, and with Comcast, and you just don't want to become a corporate.
No, and that's what's pretty much been since we lost.
Yep.
Mr. Snyder. Everything has changed.
And Tuesday we have Chuck Fletcher on, so we got the GM of the Fletcher.
I had dinner with him when he came out. Great guy.
No, really? Okay.
We went to Nobu. It was me, Fletch, Brian, Jamie, Jaden. It was a cool guy, and I'm close with Hexy. I love Hextall. I mean, awesome. I think Ron's great.
He's great, and so is his wife. She's awesome too.
Great guy. Yeah, his wife's awesome. Just I give him shit for being in Pittsburgh. You had
to have to
backdoor deals with him. Take the draft picks. Some people. Everybody likes to play GM. It's a tough job. It's a hot. Everybody wishes they had more money. Everybody wishes they were the Seattle Kraken with $88 million.
Right.
What can we do now, right?
Right.
Good job. This is a big year, and we'll see what he can do. And I'm crossing my fingers, and I hope. But as Coatsy would say,
who knows? Well, like you said, we can hope and pray. So we'll hopefully, Chuck can get something rolling there.
We'll see. There's some things that need to happen. Definitely have to be addressed. And it's a tough racket. It's different these days, and I think that speed of the game's different. Young players, it's going to only evolve maybe more to a lacrosse style of a game. I mean, I love the physicality of it, but I don't think it's where it used to be. Playoff hockey is different. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
All these rules and regulations, and it's kind of taken away from the intensity of the game a little bit. And then, these kids come out and they could be amazing at their universities or at the USHL level or wherever they're coming out of. And then they get to the NHL and they just dump.
Yeah.
Because they either don't have the body structure or they can't put the weight on. It's a man's game. You can't be chicken bone in your shoulder and a shit like that. You gotta. It's a breed, right? It's just a breed. The hockey players are like. I remember John LeClaire. Man, I shook his hand. It was like a vice grip, right?
Yeah.
It was like a handshake. Like I was like, hey, oh man, I'm like, he just felt like a man, like just a animal, like roll like that. That team was awesome. They're so strong, as you know, Corey and Kim. It's a great game, but it's different speed and
it's so different.
I don't know. They move so fast on the ice that one little slip or they lose an edge, they could really hurt themselves.
Yeah.
100%.
My brother doesn't even watch anymore because he's like the Lindros days, all of that. He hates all the changes, but I still love my Flyers. I'll watch them till the end.
Come back, we'll go to a game. Promise.
Yes, for sure.
So good.
Well,
that's
we
awesome.
really, really appreciate you coming on. I'm just looking. I don't think I have anything else for you here.
That was amazing, David. I really appreciate you taking the time because my kids kind of freaked out about this one, so they're like, "Yay!" So, appreciate it.
I'm always here, you guys. Whatever. I love the podcast. I'm so happy that you guys are doing this. Again, shout out to Biscuit Tees and thank you for what you guys lend me and let me use. I really appreciate that, and it's going to be used a lot this season. So,
we'll send you some more.
Thank you.
Send you some more for sure. And I can't go without I promised my mom I would tell her. She's almost 80 and she has you on her list.
Yeah. I had a bunch of girls say, he's on my list. I'm like, I don't know what this list thing means.
But I had to put that out there.
Tell her, give her a big hug and kiss from me.
Absolutely.
Your dad, and it's amazing, Corey, that I had your father in goal between the.
How crazy! See, talk about the universe.
I didn't know who that was.
That's awesome. No, that's cool.
That's the universe right there.
That's historic. That's the universe.
That's awesome.
Be very grateful, guys.
Yes. No, thank you
so much. And definitely, when you're in town, we'll hit a game. Go see the boys play.
All right. Cheers, guys.
That's good.
Thanks so much, David.
Bye-bye.
Take care, guys.
All right. Here's the shutdown. You can shut it down. Thanks, Kim. Thank you so much. I'll have Rob give you a call, okay? To get some.
Oh, that would be awesome. Thanks so much for doing this and for wearing the stuff all the time in the show. Like I really appreciate it.
You guys do a great job.
Here's my terrible editing skills. I don't even know how to get out of here.
I don't either.
All right. Okay.
Okay.